If you think you are safe inside your own home, you might want to think twice, because there is an entity, a shadow, a presence that has been reported by thousands of people all over Brazil since the 1950s. It does not choose social, class, age, or city. It could be right now, standing right behind you, watching in silence. This is the story of the man in the black hat. An entity that has been seen by children, the elderly, men and women. And that, according to reports, appears in the dead of night, almost always in the corners of rooms, behind doors, or in the reflection of mirrors. He does not speak, he does not move. He just observes, with his sunken eyes, his completely expressionless face, and, of course, that wide-brimmed hat that has become his trademark. No one knows exactly where he came from. Some say that he is the spirit of an extremely evil person who committed cruel acts in life and for this reason was condemned to wander forever. Others claim that he is a type of grim reaper, an entity sent to observe and choose who will be taken to the other side. There are still those who claim that he is not a ghost, but rather an interdimensional creature, a kind of spiritual parasite that feeds on people's fear, anguish, and vital energy. And that is precisely what makes the man in the black hat even more frightening. The reports are disturbing. A woman from the interior of São Paulo reported that since she was a child, she would see a figure standing at her bedroom door. Whenever she woke up in the middle of the night, he was there. He didn't move, he didn't say anything. He just watched. For years, she believed that it was just a figment of her childhood imagination, until, at the age of 32, she woke up in the middle of the night with a suffocating sensation, looked to the corner of the room, and there he was again. Exactly the same. Same hat, same empty gaze. And don't think that this is limited to a specific region. There are reports in practically every state in Brazil, from large capitals to small towns in the interior. Children waking up in the middle of the night, desperate, saying that there is a man standing in the room looking at them. Adults who report waking up paralyzed, unable to move, while clearly observing that shadowy figure at the foot of the bed. The most macabre detail is that, most of the time, the man with the black hat disappears when the first ray of light touches the room, as if the light had the power to expel him, or perhaps as if he simply did not want to be seen during the day. And if you think this is a simple coincidence, know that there are records of these same characteristics, not only in Brazil, but in several countries. In the United States, he is known as Hat Man. In Europe, he appears under different names, but the description is always the same. A very tall, extremely thin, completely dark man, as if he were made of shadow, wearing a wide-brimmed hat. Some people also report that he has red eyes, while others say that he simply has no face, just a dark void where his eyes and mouth should be. The scariest thing of all is that, according to experts in supernatural appearances, the appearance of the man in the black hat is almost always linked to periods of great stress, depression, deep sadness, or when there is some type of extremely negative energy inside the house. This makes many people believe that he is an entity that feeds on this type of energy, growing stronger from fear, pain, and human suffering. But what few people know is that there are even more disturbing reports. People say that after seeing the man in the black hat for a few nights in a row, they began to develop unexplained health problems. Cases of severe insomnia, extreme weight loss, anxiety attacks, psychotic episodes, and even cases of sudden death while sleeping. And we're not talking about one or two specific stories. There are hundreds spread all over the world. In an interview conducted by a researcher of supernatural specifications, a woman revealed that she once woke up in the middle of the night and, when looking at the mirror in front of her bed, she He clearly saw his reflection standing behind her in the corner of the room. She turned around immediately, but there was nothing there. When she looked back at the mirror, he was still there, motionless, looking directly at her. The detail, the reflection showed him closer, as if he had approached, even though she couldn't hear any sound. And here's a piece of information that you need to know, and that might keep you up at night tonight. According to several reports, the man in the black hat never appears just once. He appears, observes, and disappears. But when you notice he comes back, he always comes back, and each time he seems to be a little closer. And if you think this is just a legend, know that there are photos included, videos, and scary records circulating on the internet. Images where in the background of family photos, you can see a completely dark figure wearing a wide-brimmed hat standing in the corner of the wall, where, according to the person who took the photo, there was absolutely no one at that moment. But let me answer one thing. Have you ever had that strange feeling of being present, even when you're completely alone? Have you ever felt that inexplicable shiver running down your spine, and for some reason felt that you were not really alone? Well, maybe you have already been present by him, and now the decision is yours. Do you really want to find out who the man in the black hat is, or is it better to pretend that this never happened and hope that the next morning you don't wake up and realize that there is someone standing in the corner of your room, just watching? But does the man in the black hat choose his victims on demand, or is there a pattern behind his appearances? This is the question that many paranormal researchers have been asking for decades, and the answer, my friend, is even scarier than you might imagine. Case studies from all over the world indicate that this entity tends to manifest itself more frequently in people who are going through moments of emotional fragility, depression, extreme stress, grief, trauma, or any situation that leaves the mind more vulnerable, more fragile, and more susceptible, as if he were attracted by pain, by despair, and mainly by fear. And this sets a frightening precedent, because who has never gone through a moment like this? Who has never felt lost, alone, or on the verge of collapse? And it is precisely at this point that the man in the black hat becomes even more dangerous. He doesn't knock on your door. He doesn't need to be invited. He simply appears in your house, in your room, in your life, and when you realize it, it's already too late, because it doesn't matter if you're awake or asleep. He has the power to cross the line that separates the world of dreams and the real world. In fact, there are reports so disturbing that they defy all logic, like the one about a woman here in Brazil, more precisely in the interior of São Paulo, who reported that, for weeks, she always woke up at the same time, exactly at 3 a.m., with the feeling that there was someone standing in the corner of the room. During the first few nights, she discovered that it was just a figment of her imagination, or perhaps some anxiety problem. But on the third night, she had no more doubts. When she opened her eyes, she clearly saw a shadow, tall, thin, wearing a hat, motionless, staring at her. She tried to scream, tried to turn on the light, but her body simply wouldn't move. And the scariest thing was when she saw that next to the bed, on the wall, there was a shadow in the shape of a hand, as if someone on the other side was trying to cross that wall. And to make matters worse, after this episode, she began to notice that objects inside the house changed places. They blinked by themselves, and on some nights, the sound of footsteps coming from the hallway became so real that she swore that someone was walking inside the house, but there was no one. At least no one alive. And experts warn that the most dangerous thing is not the moment when you see the man in the black hat, but rather when he starts appearing in your dreams. It is at this stage that things become more serious. Because unlike common dreams, reports indicate that within these dreams, the victim is fully aware that he is dreaming, but cannot wake up. And it is at this moment that he appears in front of you, motionless, observing and slowly approaching without making a sound, only bringing with him a feeling of despair absolute. And here is a detail that gives anyone goosebumps. Several victims report that when he approaches in their dreams, their vision begins to become distorted, as if everything around them were shaking. The sound becomes muffled and breathing extremely difficult, as if the air simply disappeared. And the most profound thing is that when he approaches a few centimeters from their face, it is as if he sucks their vital energy, their spirit, their hope, their will to live and do. You know what is even scarier? These dreams are actually not just dreams, because upon waking, the person notices that physical marks appear on their body, purple spots, found bruises, without any logical explanation. It is as if what happened in the dream world had somehow crossed into reality. There are also reports of children who see this entity, and here is a warning. If a child tells you that there is a man standing in the room wearing a hat, believe it. Because children, due to their spiritual sensitivity, often perceive things that adults simply ignore or know not to see. And if you think that moving house will solve the problem, I'm sorry to inform you that it won't, because the man in the black hat isn't tied to places. He connects to people. Wherever you go, he goes with you, because the bond has already been made. And when he realizes that you no longer have the strength to fight, that's when he becomes even more present. And the cycle repeats itself. Sleepless nights, the constant feeling that you're not alone, the heaviness in the environment, the cold that appears out of nowhere, and that certainty that at any moment when you blink your eyes, you might come face to face with that figure standing still, looking for you, motionless, you're silent, absorbing your energy, your life. And now answer me, do you really think that all this is just a coincidence? Because if it is, it's the greatest collective coincidence in the history of humanity. If you like this kind of story, my advice, subscribe to the channel now, activate the bell and leave a like. Because in the next stories, I'm going to tell you secrets that, honestly, maybe you shouldn't even know exist.